Aaron Montgomery Ward formulated the basic principles of the mail order business and put them into practice when he founded Montgomery Ward and Company in 1872. But Ward's company eventually was surpassed in sales by a brash latecomer, Sears, Roebuck and Company. The difference between the two was the risk-taking ability of Sears' founder, Richard Sears. This is his story. As so often happens in the business world, Sears got into the mail order business by accident, and then made the most of his good fortune. His father was a Minnesota blacksmith with a large family. As a teenager, Richard Sears looked for a job which would enable him to supplement the family's income. In return for manual labor at a local railroad station, he was taught telegraphy, and soon he was earning a regular salary as a telegraph operator. Eventually, he became manager of the Minneapolis and St. Paul Railroad Station in North Redwood, Minnesota. As the railroad station manager, Sears was encouraged by his employer to supplement his modest income by developing a trading business with local farmers, Indians, and townspeople. One day, he unexpectedly found his opportunity. A local merchant refused to accept a shipment of watches, and Sears accepted the offer of buying them from the manufacturer. Sears purchased the watches at a low price and wrote an eye-catching advertisement, which he mailed to potential local customers. The ad brought in a flood of orders. Sears made a handsome profit on the venture, and he became convinced that he had a future in direct mail merchandising of watches. In 1886, Richard Sears retired from railroading to devote himself full-time to the watch business. He moved to Chicago to take advantage of its centralized location and decided to assemble watches in addition to buying finished pieces. He advertised in the Chicago papers for a watchmaker who could assemble watches from the components that Sears would buy. Young Alva Curtis Roebuck answered the ad and was hired on the spot. The business of the new R.W. Sears Watch Company grew rapidly. Roebuck assembled the watches, and Sears sold them by advertising heavily in farm magazines and by offering installment credit. Sears began to add other jewelry items for sale, and in 1889, a money-back guarantee was added to his advertising. Despite the company's success, Sears sold out to Roebuck in 1889 and launched a new, more respectable career in banking. But Sears found banking to be boring. He missed the excitement of the mail order business, and so in 1893, Sears rejoined Roebuck. They named their new partnership Sears, Roebuck and Company. And in that first year of operation, the new company printed a 196-page catalog advertising a wide range of merchandise. Working a 12-hour day, 7 days a week, Sears set out to catch up with industry leader Montgomery Ward and Company. The strategy was the same: low price, heavy advertising, and a money-back guarantee. But Sears was able to execute the strategy more effectively, and within 10 years, he had caught up with and surpassed the sales volume of Montgomery Ward and Company. Sears was a promotional genius. His ability to conceive sales promotions that worked and his ability to write advertising copy that sold distinguished him from his competitors. Most important, however, was his willingness to take risks that seemed excessive to his competitors. When he prepared for a sales promotion, he committed the company to purchase more initial inventory than most merchants would regard as prudent. As a result, of course, he was able to get unusually favorable prices and terms from his suppliers, and this allowed him to offer his customers unusually low prices. However, should his judgment regarding the saleability of the goods be too optimistic, the company would be stuck with costly unsold goods. There could be large losses and perhaps bankruptcy. The risks did not bother Richard Sears. He was confident of his ability to find the right merchandise at the right price and to motivate catalog readers to place the volume of orders he needed. A classic example of Sears' approach is in the 1901 cream separator promotion. Promising a very large volume of purchases, Sears was able to get a manufacturer to mass-produce the cream separator and sell it to Sears at 1/2 the going price. There was still a problem. Cream separators in those days were sold by local agents who supposedly had to show the farmer how to use the machine and to service it. Would farmers believe that they could do those jobs themselves? Sears thought that through his advertising, he could convince the farmers that they could assemble and maintain their own machines. Sears was right. For a decade, orders for cream separators provided Sears with a handsome profit. His willingness to take such risks bothered Sears' partner. Alva Roebuck also was concerned about the inefficiency of office and warehouse operations. These inefficiencies caused the cost of operation to rise higher than Roebuck thought it should be. He began to fear that the firm might go bankrupt, and, concerned about his personal liability in such a case, decided to sell his interest in the company to Sears in 1895. Richard Sears then reincorporated the company. Recognizing that Roebuck's concerns about administrative inefficiencies were partially justified, Sears brought in 2 new partners to handle the administrative matters. One of the new partners was Julius Rosenwald, a Chicago merchant of men's clothing. Rosenwald had been selling merchandise to Sears, and Sears had been impressed by the man's administrative abilities. With Sears promoting sales and Rosenwald providing efficient administration, the company entered a period of spectacular growth and profitability. But there were tensions between Sears and Rosenwald, for Sears' flamboyant advertising bothered Rosenwald. Sears had a tendency to exaggerate in his ads. Rosenwald came from a Jewish merchandising tradition which held that the customer should be told exactly what he or she is getting before the sale is made. When the issue came up, as it frequently did, Sears would respond by arguing that a little bit of exaggeration was necessary in order to push the customer into action. No real harm was done, argued Sears, since if the customer felt cheated, the merchandise could always be returned under the money-back guarantee. Furthermore, argued Sears, the company's business was based on repeat sales. Since Sears' sales continued to climb rapidly, the farm customers must be satisfied with what they were getting. The tensions between Sears and Rosenwald came to a head in 1907, when the nation experienced a severe financial panic. For the first time in its history, Sears, Roebuck and Company failed to set a new sales record. Richard Sears wanted to fight the decline in sales by stepping up advertising. Rosenwald, on the other hand, wanted to cut staff and other expenses and await the general upturn of the national economy. The issue was put to a vote of top management. Rosenwald's conservative, cost-cutting approach won. As a result, the company's profit performance improved in 1908, even though sales declined as anticipated. This episode, combined with Sears' ill health, caused him to resign as president of the company on November 21st, 1908. He kept the title of chairman of the board, but never attended another board meeting. That proved to be a wise decision, as the company was entering a new era, which required Rosenwald's rather than Sears' management style. Sears recognized that the time to step down had arrived, and he could take pride in the fact that his promotional abilities and willingness to take risks had made Sears, Roebuck and Company the leader in its field.